I'm Dr. Jordin Wiggins, and this is the Pleasure Principles podcast. Join me on this journey where sex, science, and sensuality meet. Let's change the conversation around sex and pleasure together. Physical touch and connection is not something that we have to work hard at the beginning of a relationship. It just happens. Our hormones, the neurochemical cocktail, we are wired to think of that person, want to spend time with that person, show them love in all of the love languages, even if that is not the way that we normally are in a long-term relationship. The dopamine, the norepinephrine, more on these details in my book, The Pink Canary. But we all know what a new relationship feels like, and especially if we have attachment issues, it can feel intoxicating. However, the new relationship energy inevitably fades the longer that we are together, and we are not taught to expect it. We are not taught how to manage it. We are not taught that mismatched libidos are normal. And this can leave both partners feeling resentful, unloved, thinking that there is something wrong with the relationship, instead of learning the tools to actually maintain connection and intimacy that deepens over time. Mismatched libidos are especially difficult because the partner with a higher drive usually feels rejected, unloved, unwanted, and the person with the lower libido tends to feel a ton of shame, like, what is wrong with me? Why don't I want as much sex, physical touch as my partner does? And often we both want the same thing, and that's connection, but we don't know how to get it. We should be doing the things that insulate our relationships from this fall from the honeymoon period. Let's talk about some ways that we can increase physical intimacy in your relationship. And I want to have this caveat. Both parties need to have the desire for change and put in effort towards physical intimacy that is good for both parties. If this is just one person doing the work, our results are going to be a little bit lackluster. And I hear this all the time from my clients. I am putting in all the work. I am reading the podcasts, listening to the trainings. I'm doing all the work, and my partner is not showing up. My partner is not doing anything. Well, we can only focus on our side of the street. That is what we have control over. And when we are coming from a place of lack, nagging, criticism, blame, sometimes we can tend to push our partner away. But when we know what our desires are, and we're going to talk about some of these today, some ways that we can do things, and we are communicating them in a way that is open-hearted, loving, and giving our partner a chance to step up and meet us, then they need to have the willingness to do so. Let's talk about 4 ways that we can increase physical intimacy in long-term relationship. The first is create tension. My favorite way to do this is flirting. Now, this is not what you might think. Flirting, from my definition, which came from one of my teachers, Mama Gina, is enjoying yourself in the presence of others. So this is you feeling good and sharing that with another person. So you can do this with your barista. You can do this with somebody cashing you out, or while you're standing in line waiting for something. Flirting does not need to mean sexual. When it is with your intimate partner, if there's that little flair, that's great. So for example, when they put their dishes in the dishwasher, you can say, babe, it turns me on to see a clean counter, as opposed to a critical comment or a blaming statement. And the longer our relationships go on, we stop flirting. We start texting each other as if this is a business relationship, short, to the point. So, flirting is enjoying yourself in the presence of others. I'm going to give you some tips. It's like turning on your light, your energy, so that everyone can bask in the glow. So, you know these women that are good flirters because being around them feels like sunshine. It feels warm. It feels good. It feels inviting. They're drawing people in. They don't have that crusty energy that pushes people away. Flirting removes criticism and negativity, just like I said, so we can flirt with your man instead of criticizing him. It creates that playful tension and gets the same point across. And flirting is like paying special attention to someone. So if you're coming from feeling good about yourself and you are sharing that, you're making someone else feel good about themselves with eye contact, with asking a question, you are putting your attention on them, giving them a compliment, sharing how you feel. So, like, could literally be as simple as, the sun feels amazing today. Simple. You feeling good, sharing that with others, focused attention on others. And we are in a world starved of connection and intimacy. So, babe, you know I love it when you pick up your towel and put it away. Or, honey, you know how much anger or frustration I feel when you leave your wet towel on the floor. Come over here and like playfully give them a kiss. So, same point across in a flirting manner. The second tip for increasing physical intimacy is communication. It is so common in long-term relationship to get stuck in the thinking trap of focusing on what is wrong, focusing on the problem, what is missing, what we need to fix. I get this. I do this for a living. So I am constantly looking for how to solve problems for people in this area. And then this leads to nagging, criticism, blame, resentment, just all yucky things in long-term relationship. Part of the reason for this is our brains are wired to keep us safe for survival. Lots of my clients are survivors of childhood trauma, and we are hyper vigilant. We are over functioning. We are, trying to see problems before they come as a protection mechanism. There's a natural focus on fixing problems, keeping us safe, threats to, like, we're taking the temperature to see threats for our abandonment, for our survival. So our nervous system feels safe. It's oftentimes why we have so much success in career or certain areas of our lives. So when this survival part of our brain is turned on, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, the pleasure centers of our brain are turned off. And we can help turn them back on through communication. When the pleasure centers are turned off, we don't desire love and connection. Touch doesn't feel as pleasurable. Our orgasms are not as good as they could be when our pleasure centers are turned on. So the work is to turn them back on. And we can focus on communicating these pleasurable things in long-term relationship for more connection and physical intimacy. Focus on communicating your desires and needs. Focus on compliments and gratitude. Make an effort to do it daily. What do you want to do together? Oftentimes we stop planning, desiring, dreaming of things together when we're in long-term relationship. This is something that we do often in new relationship. We're visioning the future and our future together. So focus on communicating about your future plans. Also, we can reminisce about past good times, reminisce about times that we were connected, times that we were working as a team, hard times that we got through together. The third way that we can create more physical intimacy in relationship is by creating novelty. Most of us superwomen are busy, recovering perfectionists, codependents, overfunctioners. You've tried the new toys, the positions, you bought the lingerie. Maybe the lingerie even stayed in the drawer, or the toy, you bought it with good intentions and it was overwhelming, so you kept it collecting dust. Or maybe you tried it, but it wasn't as fast or efficient to get you to the end result, which was orgasm. where you could check the box and move on. So you gave up. You bought the book. I know you bought the book because I think even I bought the book, and so many of my clients did, where you need a paintbrush and a wizard wand and a quail feather and a tarp to carry out the challenge for your relationship. And that was way too much effort. So you stop doing that. So eventually you end up going back to the same checkbox sex. You know what works for each other to get each other off, but it doesn't leave you feeling satisfied. It feels routine, like maintenance sex. And that is okay. There's a place for maintenance sex, but we also need a place for novelty where we are satisfied, where there's that pep in our step, where we're smiling at each other from across the room, thinking about the sex that we just had for days. So let's talk about some easy ways to bring novelty into your relationship when you are already a busy, over-functioning superwoman, and the thought of adding one more thing to your to-do list feels overwhelming. Try reading an erotic novel together and discussing your likes and dislikes. Reading together should be a love language. It's one of my love languages. Try mutual masturbation. This is something that you already do. If you don't, you should be. Couples that self pleasure have higher sexual satisfaction, better communication, just better markers of relationship overall. So if you have hangups around self pleasure, send me a DM. I'd love to chat more. What about when somebody's not feeling it? Somebody wants to be intimate, the other partner doesn't. Maybe try holding your partner while they self pleasure. Let's find something in between that works for both. Another way to create novelty is discussing fantasies. You do not need to act on them. You could even write them down or text them to each other. Another great way to create novelty that doesn't create too much stress in the moment, because we know you are busy, you are overworked. If we are going to add more stress, put you more in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, pleasure centers are turned off. So this one takes a little bit of work up front, but can be very helpful in the future. So you could write a list of activities that create physical intimacy, activities that you want to do and your partner would do the same. Maybe things you want to try, or things like take a bath together or shower together, like simple things that you would both do. You're going to all write them down. You're going to look at each other's lists and make sure that you are a yes for the things on the list. And then everything that you are a yes to goes in a box, in a bowl. And then when you have time to be intimate and just the thought is overwhelming of what should we do or how should we add novelty, you just go to the box and you pick something. And that is what you do. And these things should all be easy enough to carry out. The fourth way to increase intimacy is connection. And I mean connection in the broad sense, not just intercourse. I need you to make time for this, to schedule connection time, schedule an intimacy date, and I'm going to give you some examples of what this looks like. Laying naked together with no expectation. Let the oxytocin, the connection hormone, build. We need to hug or lay together, touch for at least 20 to 30 seconds before we start to get oxytocin production. Light the candles during dinner, set the environment, the ambiance, put the phones away, and chat. Chat about the things that I gave you in tip number 2 on communication, the pleasurable things. Don't talk about all that is wrong and needs to be fixed and what bills need to be paid. Talk about intimacy killer. Set a boundary up front for your connection time, where what you are and are not up for. And oftentimes, if you do take time to lay together and relax, then you will be surprised in 10, 15 minutes that your pleasure centers are turned back on and you are ready to be physically intimate. Another great way for connection is taking a bath or shower together. Eye gazing. Literally sit in front of each other and look into each other's eyes. Set a timer for 60 seconds. You don't need to talk. Just let your souls speak to each other. See what comes up. You will be amazed at how connected you feel, and also how much time you used to spend eye gazing, but you don't anymore. So, great way to bring that connection back. Well, let's be honest, you have accomplished a hell of a lot and have a very little pleasure to show for it. You have the house, the car, the bags, you take the vacations, but your pleasure tank is low. You sometimes even feel like you're watching life go by from a bird's eye view. You take the courses, you invest in yourself, you work out, you eat well, you do the things that most people want to do, and yet you're not as happy as you want to be. Something is still missing. You might even think, what is wrong with me? These are things that I hear from superwomen all the time. You're settling for a low pleasure tank because you think that that is the cost of having financial success, freedom. And that means that you have to sacrifice having the good sex and connection too. That somehow it's not possible for you to have it all. If this speaks to you and you want to feel energetic, desired, turned on, without sacrificing any of your power, without adding more to your already overwhelming to-do list, there are two ways to work with me right now. Applications to my one-on-one coaching is open. At the time I'm recording this, I have 2 spots available for the superwomen ready to have the success and the good sex. You're ready to create more pleasure without sacrificing what you have built. You know that there is something missing. You might even be afraid that if you lean into pleasure, you'll lose your edge or blow up your life. I'm here to tell you that this is easier and more fun than you might think. When you learn what you truly desire, when you learn how to ask for it and receive it, we open you up to a whole new level of energy, health, wealth, connection. So here's what's going to happen. Fill out an application so I can get to know you and know what's going on a little more. Then you will hear from me within 72 hours. Make sure to check your junk mail. We're going to get on a call to discuss what's going on with you and what options are best to work with me. We're going to put the link to the application in the show notes. So if this speaks to you, you know it. There's this internal calling to my work. It's like she's speaking to me. She's in my head. Do not wait. Don't make the excuses for after this quarter, after this launch, after the kids finish school. Let's have a call and start making a plan that works for you today. Would you wait for an issue this pivotal, affecting you this much, costing you this much in your business? You wouldn't. You would have applied already. So hit that apply button. Would love to hear from you and cannot wait to connect. And are you ready to get started with my work? Start living your day-to-day life with a little more pleasure. Pleasure Principles is the program for you. It is the program to enhance, reignite, and communicate your desires while bringing the vitality back to you and your relationships. It is an online program. We meet once per month for a live coaching call hosted by me. Where else are you going to get to chat with so many amazing women about these topics? And there are tons of trainings, including the highly anticipated and newly released blowjob training, how to give a blowjob and enjoy doing it. So we have trainings on sex, communication, figuring out what you desire. And these are all designed for a busy superwoman like you to start implementing today. This doesn't require a ton of work and extra stress because I know that that is the exact opposite of what you need. So the link is in the show notes for more information on pleasure principles as well. And you can always send me a DM and we can chat about it. Hope to hear from you soon. Have a great week, everybody. If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.